There we go. What's going on, everybody? Lee and Tammy Sanders back with you guys for an all new Wrestling with the Topics this December 7th of 2025.
Better known as Pearl Harbor Day.
Oh, it's Pearl Harbor Day?
It is.
It is. All the history lessons that I've been learning. But see, we've mainly been focusing on 17th, 18th, 19th century black history, the Civil War, all that stuff. We haven't.
Yeah, you haven't covered
No,
World War II.
no. Apparently the professor doesn't plan on covering. I guess that's an entirely different.
I guess that's entirely different history lesson.
Don't get me started on numbers and all that, because I'm like Chevy Chase on SNL. It was, to my understanding, math would not be discussed. I've actually used that line before in some of my classes, and the whole classroom just busts up laughing.
Somehow that makes sense.
Lee Sanders here, joined along by the beautiful and the lovely Tabby.
Hey guys, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. So, how the hell y'all been? Been a minute. What's it been now? Maybe 2 weeks since we
About 2
last
weeks.
did a show.
Yeah,
A lot of moving parts has gone down since we were last on the air. Hope your weekend has been going pretty good. Holidays are near the very end. We just got to power through Christmas, New Year's, MLK, and yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it until really President's Day, Valentine's Day.
Right?
And then after that, that's it till 4th of July, right?
No, Easter.
Oh, Easter. I always forget about Easter. Yeah, there is a little thing called Easter.
Shame. Yeah. Oh, a little thing.
There
yeah,
is a
okay.
little thing called
Little thing,
a
guys.
little
A little
thing.
thing.
A
You know,
little.
not just one of the biggest religious holidays of
Oh
our
my
year.
God! It's a little thing called. It's a little thing called Easter. Yeah, this guy. He died on the
Oh,
cross.
stop, please. Please stop.
They made
Please stop.
some movies about him apparently, and he's a pretty big deal. His name is Jesus. So he's a pretty big deal.
Yes, he is a pretty big deal. I agree.
It's not as popular as me.
No, Trump. Nobody is as popular as you with your little Happy Meal prize.
Oh my God, man! Seriously. So I am in the
Here,
final.
You don't have to give me the medal. I'll just take it from you.
Yeah, I know, right? He's pulling. I mean, but if you really stop and think about it, he's now pulling a Denzel Washington. There's this infamous clip that's running around where Denzel is being interviewed by Jamie Foxx, and Denzel tells the story how he was at this award ceremony, and Sean Connery was up for some award, and no, Sean Connery got like this huge standing ovation, and I think it tied into whatever movie Sean Connery was potentially nominated for. And when Denzel saw the standing ovation that Connery got, he goes, "Yeah, this is over. I'm not winning tonight." And so he grabbed his wife and they grabbed their coats. And as they were leaving, he saw the big old spread of food in the back. And it was a really good spread. And he told Jamie Foxx, he said, "I'm leaving here with something." And I'm just picturing Trump. "I'm leaving here with something. It doesn't matter what it is, but I'm leaving here with something. Something good. Something pretty good."
Well, really quickly though, one of the most hilarious videos I've actually seen this week was his mainly it wasn't even about the speech because I could have cared less what he said, but apparently he thanked Melania, and they panned to her, and I swear to God, dead ass, serious face, no smile, no smirk, no nothing.
Yeah, she just has this repulsive, woe is me. Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting? Like, I mean, really, people stop and think about this for a second, right? Not to get too into the weeds, but really stop and think about this for a second. We ain't heard a peep out of her this term. compared to the previous term.
Nope. Barely. Well, she tried in the beginning, and then it was like, well, wait a minute.
I mean, she
Yeah,
has
not
been like, I forget she's non-existent. I
right.
sometimes have to remind myself this dude is married.
Right. Right.
Cause sometimes I think about what's it's one of my all-time favorite Michael Douglas movies. He was a single guy. He was the president of the United States,
Oh,
and
American President.
love that movie.
Mm.
Obviously, Trump isn't that guy, but
Right.
but
But
no, like I'm reminded. Oh yeah, he's
similarities.
married. I keep forgetting
Mm-hmm.
that because you haven't heard a peep out of her.
No.
It's
No.
amazing.
No.
Yeah,
You
it's
haven't.
it's really just amazing. Now,
No.
before anybody asks, I know NXT did a premium live event yesterday. It was Deadline. I have not watched it yet. I will be watching it sometime, if not before the weekend is out. I will definitely have watched it by the time I do the Monday Raw post show. So before anybody asks, hey, what did you think about NXT Deadline? That's what's going on with that. I've mainly been kicking back, just relaxing, and just it's interesting. I have in my head, so I have a whole bunch of papers that's due. My final exams, luckily, virtually all of them going into the week of my birthday in about 2 weeks. All the exams that I have, my final exams, they're all essay papers, with the exception of my government class. I've actually got to go into my government class and
Tuesday. Yeah.
physically, not this coming week,
Oh.
but the following week. So I got
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of time to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
I got to physically go in for our final exam, and then I'm officially done with the class.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other classes, it's paper exams.
Mm.
So I love it. So I plan on sitting down, and I mean, it's not hard. I love to write. So
Mm-hmm.
I am a critical thinker. It's just
Mm-hmm.
a matter of, I know how I am. Once I start, one's going to bleed into another. And then the
Mm-hmm.
next thing you know, I'm going to lose like a whole day because I've been
Right.
busy banging out writing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just been enjoying the calm before the storm, so to speak.
Makes
And
sense.
yeah, so to speak, and everything. So I've mainly been chilling, just kind of, brushing up on my reading, just kind of laying low and everything. That's why, if you guys had noticed, we were supposed to do a Friday show. I was supposed to do a show after SmackDown, but I said, I really want to take it easy because I felt kind of drained from everything that's just been going on the past couple of weeks, and rightfully so. We actually had got hit with a little bit of snow over here, and it was, dude, DC, Maryland, Virginia, they are so ass backwards when it comes to snow. First of all, I'm a Chicago native. And I always tell these DC residents whenever the topic of snow come up, I say, "Well, I'm from Chicago, and even though I am many, many years removed from Chicago, I remember blizzards, and I can
Mm-hmm.
remember snow, being like about I can remember snow being like about, a bullshit you not, like almost 10 feet, 10 to 12 feet, if not even more. And
Feet?
like, yes,
Like you can't get out your house?
you ain't getting out your house.
Okay.
You try to open that door, you're shit out of luck, because
Okay.
that snow damn near come to your waist, kind of deep snow.
Okay.
Okay, so
Wow.
I've been through my fair share of snow battles, and here in the DMV region, you hear just an inch of snow, and gotta get the bread and milk. Gotta get the bread and milk. They said snow, and it just boggles my mind. So this is how ass backwards this. It pays me to say this because otherwise I love DMV, but it pays me to say this. So you go to Tuesday. Tuesday, a lot of areas go, oh man, we're going to need to do a 2 hour delay. Let's go ahead and some counties, let's have them close. Well, we hear that the roads are going to be pretty, slick. And da, 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 da. Yeah, but there's not going to be any snow. Yeah, but still, cold and da, 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 da. They tripped for no damn reason. I was able to power through. I remember I checked in with you. I said, "Hey, how you?" Like, my commute was fine. How about you? I'm like, my commute was fine as
Yeah, well,
well.
that was the next morning.
Right. But still,
Oh no, I'm
no, we're
sorry.
talking about Tuesday.
I did go out a few times.
Yeah, we're talking about
Yeah.
Tuesday, right? And yet you would think that when officially, hey, we're going to get an inch of snow. Oh, damn. Well, since we're going to get an inch of snow, this definitely means then, man, yeah, there's going to be some delays. There's going to be this. There's going to be that. Nope, regular day. And it pissed off a lot of residents because
Hmm.
they were expecting for there to be a 2 hour delay. And they were like, this makes no sense. You do it Tuesday, but you don't do it Friday? Like, how does that make sense? And so it's just really this area, this region, it's
Hmm.
always been finicky when it comes to just,
Hmm.
and I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's maybe a fear of whatever. I actually had classes on Friday and I start to go, and the night before, me and Tams were sitting down, and I said, you know what? I gotta play this by ear. And the main reason why I decided I wanted to play it by ear is because I know how some of these people are out on the roads. They are scared to drive. Like, so wait a minute. The way they teach you at the Department of Motor Vehicles, MVAs and all that, the way they teach you, you should always be a defensive driver.
Hmm.
But now you're all of a sudden going to be scared when you're behind the wheel? Like, that doesn't quite make any sense to me. But I was like, let me just take it easy because I kind of have a feeling that there could be some accidents because people are going to be scared driving out there. Or maybe some people are just going to be driving like normal, not going to think nothing
Correct.
of it, and then there's going to be accidents. And sure enough,
Correct.
wake up the next day and there were accidents. I said, nah, 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 nah. I'm good.
Yeah, because I actually had a couple of things that I had to do. I was off that day, but I had a few things that I had to do as well. And I said, okay, well, the parking lot looks okay. I mean, it's no real big thing. And I came back in from outside and I said, well, let me look at our current traffic app. And kid you not, I literally saw crash, 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 crash. Yeah, I'm not going out.
Yeah.
Mainly for me personally, it was okay. I know that I can drive in the snow. It's not that bad. Now, obviously, at 5, 6, 7 o'clock, because it's still semi chilly. Okay, maybe that's true. Maybe they haven't quite gotten, real good time to clean the roads.
Right.
But after that, it was fine.
Yeah.
And for me, it was about the other drivers.
Yeah.
Either, like Lee said, they're either going too slow and scared to drive, or they're going too quick for the conditions and they end up not not really knowing their car's ability or testing the car's limits and then end up getting in trouble.
Let me ask you, would you also say, in addition to that, because I'm still relatively a new driver, I mean, what, I've got what, 2 years, a little bit, two
More than
or
that.
2 plus years?
More than that.
I'm close to three. I know I'm not at three yet. I don't think I'm at three yet. No.
I think you're at 3.
You think I'm at three?
I
Well,
think I think it's been more than that.
let's say 2.95. All right, let's say 2.95. So
Guys, it's been more like 4.
let me. Well, it depends on how you want to. Okay, let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. Between getting my learners and then having my drivers, let's do it that way.
Well, I consider your drivers being also the provisional.
Oh yeah, there was the provisional. The
Uh-huh.
provisional was 18 months
Times 18 months almost.
times. Yeah, so it has been
Mm-hmm.
okay. Still a relatively
So,
new
okay.
driver though.
Right.
Let me ask you, is it a case where when it comes to this time sensitive weather, is it a case where most people are not checking their tires like upgrading their tires? Is that maybe a large part of it? If you had to put an educated guess out there.
In reference to the amount of accidents,
Yeah.
underestimating the conditions, number one.
Okay.
Number two, yes, that is a fact. That is a factor. In reference to making sure that your tires have tread on them. In reference to this time of year. I mean, they should always have tread, but you really want to make sure that your tires are good. But basically, you can put brick on ice, it's still going to slide at the right pressure.
Mm.
So, literally, it's more like keeping your distance, slowing down, and going at the minimum, just below the speed limit.
Mm.
And those are really your two things.
Tams taught me recently about checking the tread on the tires because, as some of you guys know, I had a tire that blew out. I shared it on social media a couple of months back. I had a tire. It was my front driver's side tire that blew out on my car, and it was the worst piece of news. That I was just driving on the freeway and I was just doing my thing. I was heading to class, and the next thing you know, something just said, "Whoa, what's going on here?" Like it wasn't a pop. There was like no
Mm-hmm.
explosion.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, I don't know, the wheel's starting to feel funny. What the hell is this about?
Mm-hmm.
And my wheel, just the rubber, it was just ridiculous. When I looked at it, like it just ripped apart like to shreds. It was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And but it turns out, not for nothing, we had noticed there was a little abnormality that was on the wheel,
Tire.
that was on the tire. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, thank you for correcting me. The tire. And Towns was like, "When's the last time you deflated that? You inflated that?" I'm like, probably da da da. You might want to put some air in it. I'm like, okay. And like I was doing that, but it just kind of seemed like of all the tires, that one was becoming the lowest after like a day or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And before I got behind the wheel, I looked at my tire and I said, "That looks pretty low. I should probably," and I said, I'll be all right. I'll do it once I get to campus." That's usually my mindset. Once I get to campus. And I usually do. Once I get to campus and I got a little bit of time to kill, I'll either, okay, let me put some oil, let me hook up the tires. And, I always do it that way. And yeah, the tire had exploded. And Tams was like, "Your tread, always check your tread." I'm like, "What the hell is that?" And she's like, "Let me show you." And she does, she shows me the whole finger test and everything. And then I start doing the finger test for the rest. And she's like, "See, these back tires, they're not that bad, but you are going to need to replace these eventually in the next couple of months." I'm like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "But you're kind of good for now." But like, she's like, "Feel what is happening here with the old tire, the one that we ultimately had to replace. And that one had no tread whatsoever." And that's like, ugh. So to your point about
Mm-hmm.
weather conditions and
Mm-hmm.
definitely the treading,
The more traction you don't have on a tire, the worse you're going to slide.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It just always amazes me seeing the amount of accidents that
Yeah.
just,
Mm-hmm.
well, shit, it's not even a case where you could be out on the road. I remember years back when I was working in retail for a hot minute. I can remember mofos. You would think as simple as entering a parking lot so you can go find a spot so you can go buy your groceries.
Right.
Mofos didn't know how to drive.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
I mean, I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
man. Seriously, man. Speaking of DC, let's talk a little bit because like a lot has happened since last we were on the air here. Obviously, the biggest piece of news out here in our region is Mayor Muriel Bowser officially announced that she's not going to be seeking a fourth term as DC's mayor. And she is now tied with Marion Barry
Mm-hmm.
for most terms. And Marion Barry, just to kind of give people that don't know anything about DC politics, don't know anything about the DC culture and everything, Marion Barry, for a lot of us residents, was a really big deal
Mm-hmm.
back in his day because he was looked upon as the mayor for the people.
Mm-hmm.
He did so much as far as trying to create housing project opportunities for low income families. He really did a lot for low income families. He really did a lot for the poorest wards in the district. That also included the summer works
Program.
program, which
Mm-hmm.
eventually got revamped by Mayor Fenty,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Adrian Fenty.
Adrian Fenty. But he did a lot for the city. I mean, he was already to a degree a civil rights activist
Mm-hmm.
in his own right, and he went
Mm-hmm.
through some hardship in the '80s as he became addicted to crack cocaine,
Mm-hmm.
and despite the way the media were
Picture painting that scenario.
yeah, yeah. You know, they amplified
Yes.
and with the amplifying that they were doing, they inadvertently created this narrative of, well, this person shouldn't be leading this. And the way the city had came around him, it was, look, even more the reason why he's one of us. Like, nobody is perfect. We all got our problems, and everybody rallied
Mm-hmm.
around him. And, you
And
know,
then reelected him
they
after
ultimately, yeah,
his sentence and rehab and all of that, and then
yeah.
ended up reelecting him, and he did what, at least 2 terms.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
He was mayor in the '80s, and then pretty much it was like 90, I think maybe like 92 to 97 or something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
feel like that's
You
right.
know, but Muriel Bowser, she did so much. I mean, when you
Yeah.
just look at her legacy, the fact that she brought new great development
Mm-hmm.
to DC. I mean, DC looks. I've told you this many times that we have visited DC. I've gone, yo, this area, it's changed so
So
much.
much.
And
Yeah.
many times I'll say to Tams, I remember, when this used to be da 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 da. I remember when this was just a empty ass parking lot. I remember when this was just a liquor store. I remember when this was a strip
Mm-hmm.
club. Oh, this used to be a McDonald's, and there used to be a
Mm-hmm.
whole bunch of homeless people in here like 24/7. And it's amazing to see all
Growth.
the growth that has
Mm-hmm.
happened in the city. Uh, and she further extended programs towards low income
Mm-hmm.
families, particularly when it comes to housing developments.
Mm-hmm.
I visited some of the areas that, at one point, you don't want to be in this neighborhood.
After a certain time.
And now it's, wow, look at these nice, pretty homes. Wow, they got a
Mm-hmm.
nice, clean park. Oh, they
Mm-hmm.
got this. And it's like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
okay. But then also, a big testament to her and her legacy. Let's also look at this. And this isn't me buttering her up. This is just me spitting facts.
Mm-hmm.
When it appeared that Ted Leonsis was
Yeah.
going to be moving the Washington
Mm-hmm. Capitals
Capitals
and the Wizards.
and the Wizards, when it appeared as though he was going to take them to Virginia,
Virginia. Mm-hmm.
she moved heaven and
And
earth, and
everything
she
got they
made
built right.
sure it stayed right
Mm-hmm.
in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
She essentially was able to bring back the Washington Commanders
Commanders.
to DC.
Yep.
Okay. So you're
Yep.
like,
Rebuild a whole new stadium for them
right,
and bring them back.
right.
That was a major feat. I mean, they haven't been in DC for probably 20 years.
Not since Barry.
Yeah.
Not since Barry.
Yeah.
Because by the time Williams and Fenty, the
Mm-hmm.
next two mayors to succeed Marion Barry, by the time they came in, we already had Snyder, and he
Right.
took the Commanders
And to Maryland.
to Maryland. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, she's done so much. And you didn't see it, but when I was watching some of the coverage, the announcement, her announcement and everything, which she only
Mm-hmm.
gave an exclusive interview to NBC for Washington's Mark Seagraves, who did a
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal job. They actually ended up speaking to some of the members of the DC Council, and I think it was Phil Middleton who said, "We appreciate everything that she has done for us. Now, at the same time, we also need to recognize that it's not as though she's getting ready to leave in a week or two. She's got a whole year to go, and I know how taxing."
Mm-hmm.
I've had many conversations with her behind closed doors. It is a grueling job. There is so much that you guys do not know,
Mm-hmm.
and I have empathy for her. And at the same time, we need for her to finish strong and make
Mm-hmm.
sure that
Mm-hmm.
the future,
Mm-hmm.
is going in the right direction and everything. And yeah, I mean, her. What do you say about Muriel Bowser? I mean, her legacy is intact. Some would make an argument that she really didn't do enough for low income districts, for certain wards. You could definitely make that argument. She didn't really do enough for the homeless. Her legacy is for sure a little tarnished because
Mm-hmm.
when she was she won brownie points when she butted heads with Trump during his first term.
Right.
But obviously with this second term, it kind of seems as though she's, for lack of a better term,
Back down.
backing down and I don't want to say playing footsie, but trying to be try,
I don't
tr-
necessarily, for me, I don't necessarily think it's playing footsie. I think she's just tired of the game.
not tired of the game,
Well,
playing the game. No, no. Let me give you the
mm-hmm.
greatest example to
Mm-hmm.
defend my point.
Okay.
To defend my point, Black Freedom Plaza. Trump wanted that removed. She removed it,
Yeah.
and she caught a lot of flack
I still don't
for that.
particularly agree with that, but I mean, say that one is playing the game. Um, but for me, I of politics and is ready to move on to the next chapter. Okay. Okay, well fair enough. But for me, not saying this is anybody else's opinion, this is my opinion. For me, I would say it feels like she's tired of playing the game or is ready to take her ball and go somewhere else. I feel like if she didn't have to play the game or she had a dance partner that was in it to make DC better,
Mm.
that she would probably still be there and re-seek another term. Just my own personal opinion. Not saying fact, saying that's anything, but it's just my own personal opinion. Now, I will say that in what I've seen, in some of her big deals, and then really trying to move DC forward. I mean, hell, even one point, I think there was bids on the table for making DC a state again under her.
Well, not a state
I
again.
mean, not again, but basically trying to make DC a state.
Right? Yeah, they've been
There
trying
was
hard for it.
legislation, and
Yeah, DC
that
statehood.
that
Yeah,
still didn't get passed,
yeah.
but there is that there is that informational piece of it that, well, we at least tried to get that going so we could get some funding, we could get this, we could get that, plus the other deals. And I will tell you, I'm not a big baseball fan, but I did do a Christmas event at Nationals Park, and guys, let me tell you something. That park is beautiful.
Now that did not happen under her watch.
Oh, Okay, well,
That
then I'm misinformed.
baseball came back under baseball came back under, you said Nationals, correct? Yeah, baseball, the Nationals came back thanks to Adrian Fenty.
Okay.
Wait. Fenty was the one
Bow tie?
with the bow tie,
I
right?
think so.
Okay. Yeah. Keep talking. I'll find out real
Yeah.
quick.
So, but just in certain sections of DC and in going there, I mean, there are certain sections.
No, Williams. It was Williams.
Okay.
Fenty was the young bald head one. That was a dick.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah, the one termer. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Um. So but going back to her term, and yeah, he was the one with the bow tie.
Yeah. Tony Williams.
Yeah. And but I do believe that she, has possessed strength and leadership, and for a city that really needs that. You know, no political official is going to get every single thing done that is on their agenda, because just like it's been said before many other times, you do have each side of the aisle. So you can want all you want, but you also have to essentially get that over with both sides of the aisle.
Well, I tell you what, for somebody that essentially was mayor for 10 years, like total, she got a lot done. It's going to be
Yes.
really whoever it's going to be that's going to step in and to
Big
replace
shoes to
her.
fill.
Yeah, it's some huge shoes to fill. I mean, you can make an argument that she surpassed
Yep.
Barry
Yeah,
in
you
a
can.
lot of areas. In a lot of areas. I'm very curious to see how everything's going to play itself out. It's so funny because when she announced her not seeking another term, yeah, all of a sudden the media, the way they start framing things, oh, who's going to be the next successor? And it's so funny because like a lot of these media stations, I was watching them, one name's mentioned, a second name is mentioned, and you're like, well, who the hell are these people? Like, I've never heard of these people before. And I was talking about this in my journalism class this week. I said, because we were talking about the impact of social media and how that can play a critical role for journalists when you can't go to the streets and you can't talk to
Right.
people. And I said, well, social media, if you utilize it right, it's a really great tool for continuing to keep the conversations going and add a new layer to a story that you're working on. And I talked about how, yeah, well, some of the news media outlets, they make the announcement about Muriel Bowser stepping down, and then they're like, oh, who's going to be the successor? They mention one or two names, and it's like, so how about more context? Like, who are these people? What are they about? How long have they been serving the district? And why should we even care about this name that you're throwing out there? If there was ever a time to, okay, look, here's a companion piece to this main story. We talked to people. We wanted to know, hey, have you ever heard of this person? According to the poll, this is what you guys had said.
Hmm.
So for more context, let's give you a background on who this person is, what they're about, da 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 da. Da. Because some of the people that were spoken to, hey, who would you like? Like, I don't know.
They probably don't know much about anybody right now,
No,
because even when I'm watching, I'm like, I have no idea who this person is.
no,
Like never heard of them before in my life.
yeah,
So it's tough to essentially give an opinion on something
it
you know
really
nothing
is.
about.
It really is. I'm like, you know. So we got that. We got all that drama. But I do wish her the best. I mean, she did.
Truly, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, say what you will, but like overall, she
Mm-hmm.
did pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It just sucks that in her final term, butting heads with Trump. I
Yes.
know for a fact that a lot of the DC residents, they weren't really feeling the whole ICE situation
Right.
and the military's presence in the
Right.
district. You know, they're not really. You know,
Yeah.
I get it. I understand some of those frustrations, but
And
like overall, o- does it does it tarnish her legacy a little bit? Yes, but not to the point where you
no,
ignore.
no,
Because you're
no.
talking about 10 years. If I can only get you really on 1 year out of basically your 10 years, that's pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially like 90 out of 100.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. But some of that, I still feel like some of that is in her control, but not necessarily in her control.
Yeah.
Because it literally got played out on national TV how much it was not in her control.
Yeah. Anything you want to add in regards to, or sound off your thoughts in regards to how your Washington Commanders are doing? I see Jaden Daniels is officially back.
Right. He is clear to for today's game. It's nice to have everybody back. We'll see what they can do. To be honest with you, I call him Mariota, but the league was actually saying his name a bit different. Um, for me, he actually did really well his last game, and he's actually a decent quarterback. I just don't
You're
whether
talking about Marcus Mariota.
right, but that's not how they were saying it the last game. It was kind of they were elongating some letters, so I don't know. But anyway, that's what I'm going to call him. Um, he's a decent quarterback, and I think they're starting to string together some kind of camaraderie. But I don't necessarily think it's the camaraderie that they had with Daniels.
Well, there is a R in there. Maybe it's Marcus Mariota. I
I
mean,
think it's something like that.
look. They're being stupid. They didn't do their research because I'm seeing Mariota. You can only pronounce it,
I,
but
th- it was almost like it was almost like they were saying Mariota, and they were elongating the last name. But
Jesus.
anyway, it neither here nor there. So I just feel like, and I think it's even going to take them a little bit to get that camaraderie back for Daniels. I mean, he's been out for a few weeks. And they never really, truly got their season started.
Well, hang on. I see some audio here. He's teaching folks how to pronounce his last name. Let's see how this sounds here. Let's see here. Thank you. I appreciate that. I know my shit. Mariota.
And he literally had to Google this just to prove that he was correct.
Well, no, I was curious because it's not that hard. It to me when I first read it, I'm like, okay, well either the R is potentially silent or it sounds like Toyota. It's Mariota, and
Right.
sure enough, I was leaning more towards Mariota because I'm like, it's rare I hear a R silent in
Right.
such a short name like
Right.
that. So were they
Right.
calling him something different?
A lot of people were saying Mariota.
Oh yeah, no, don't do
That's
that.
why.
Don't do that.
Um,
Google's your best friend.
so,
Google's your best friend.
so in reference to Mariota, I really do believe that he actually was starting to find his stride. Now, do I believe that maybe some of the play calling might have been a little presumptuous? In my opinion,
Mm,
yes.
hmm.
Um, but I will, to be honest with you, the last game that we watched, and matter of fact, I had to get up and go to work the next day, and it was a late night game. And we watched it, and it was actually a really good game. Was mad they didn't win, but still a good game. Um, and so we'll see. We'll see. I mean, to be honest with you, I am enjoying the transition of the new team and, of course, their second year, and seeing how they do. Now, for me, they must win they must win Dallas on Christmas.
You're talking about the game on week 14 last week against the Vikings.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Actually, no,
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 that's
no.
today's game.
That's today's game. Broncos.
Broncos.
Yeah.
And Broncos have been a pretty decent team. We actually gave a 9-3 team a run for their money.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that game. But unfortunately at this point, unless there's a major downfall, we are out of the playoffs. So it's really just about strengthening what we have and seeing where we can go from there. But
Yeah, because I mean, the defensive struggles, the inconsistency, that continues to plague the team.
yep,
To your point
yep,
about the offense, their slow start. I mean, they're starting to look like they're coming back into rare form from
right,
where they were last year that took the nation by storm and everything. They're almost back at full strength on the offense because you
right.
got veteran wide receiver Noah Brown was taken off IR, so that's definitely adding
Okay,
for
that's
them some
adding
much
the
needed
insult to
depth.
injury there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I mean, their record right now, they're 3-9. Dan Quinn, he's talking about trying to focus on little things, execution, attitude, competing hard, and you know, I mean, look, obviously the season is over. You're pretty much building towards the future. But if you saw that game against the Broncos last week, you're going, well, okay, this looks very promising.
Yeah,
If they
hang in there.
can continue to play as they did last
Mm-hmm.
weekend,
Mm-hmm.
then I think most fans can definitely live
And
with
you'll have
that.
a strong season-ending record.
Yeah.
Versus the way it looks right now.
Yeah. Speaking of the season, just kind of circling back to holiday. I hope you guys have gotten started on your holiday shopping and all that. If you're thinking about some really cool gift ideas, this is not a cheap plug, but I do want to bring a consumer alert to you guys' attention. So, since I've been taking my history class this semester, it's made me think a lot about family, connecting, reconnecting, and a lot of my family on both sides of my parents, like I've lost contact with through the years. Like it's been a few decades, and I've kind of been talking about this off and on with Tams the past couple of years, but it really amplified this year. And so Tams did something really cool. She actually was trying to do this for me, uh, entertaining idea off and on like the past 3 years, I would say, give or take. But she
Mm-hmm.
finally pulled the trigger this year, and I think a large part of that had to do with just everything I was telling her I was learning from my history classes and all that. It's interesting too because it's kind of almost a continuation, really, because when I graduated from community college earlier in the summer, we were learning a lot about how enslaved people after they ran away from their enslavers, they basically were putting ads in papers trying to reunite with families. You had some that somehow managed to, okay, well, I was this was my slave owner, and
Mm-hmm.
they conceived with my mother, and this had produced this person by the name
Mm-hmm.
of, and all of
Mm-hmm.
that, the whole genetic thing. And so
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, Tams decided to get me an ancestry DNA kit. Now here's where the consumer alert comes into play, not in the direction that you guys are kind of thinking, but just peep this out. So yesterday, Tam says to me, hey, a package came. And I think I was maybe having a afternoon nap or whatever. So whenever my phone is away, I got my watch on, and my watch will go off. So in this case, my watch went off. So that's how I got your message. I'm like, oh, okay. And I go downstairs and I open the front door and I see a package. I'm like, oh, okay. Now, the way the package was set up, it was basically like sunny side up and just clear as day. It said Ancestry DNA kit. I'm like, hmm. I flip it over and I see, Tam's name and all that. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I told her, hey, I know about one of the packages that came because she told me 2 weeks ago, hey, anything that comes in the mail, like just pick it up. You like don't scrutinize it, don't try to figure out who it's from, just pick it up. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, in this case, I had to see where, because the way it was positioned, I could have easily stepped on it without realizing it. So it's like, ugh. So I see this and I'm like, well, that's kind of bad. Why? Like, I get the packaging as far as marketing goes, but let me see if I got this straight. We can get COVID tests delivered to our home, and that's discreetly packaged. If you want to give yourself a STD at home kit, that's discreetly packaged. If you want to check your stool and all that, see if there's any form of cancer or whatever, you want to poop in a box, whatever, that comes discreet. But damn, heaven forbid you decide you want to give yourself a Ancestry DNA self kit. Your business is all out there. So I say that to say if you're thinking about an Ancestry DNA kit, make sure you have that like go to Amazon locker.
And you go pick it up yourself.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you guys how mad I was when he told me that. And I was, because the funny thing is when he told me that, because he didn't tell me who it was from in the beginning. And I said, I bet you it's that. And for anybody, just a little bit insight, anybody who knows me knows that I'm very big on Christmas. And I'm very big about surprise. So, so, and so then Lee decides to call me and then confirm that it was what I thought it was. And then I was even more mad. And I'm like, oh, you're killing me. I mean, grant you, it wasn't about the money, but it was more about the ruin of the surprise. So a very, very, very quick story I guess I was 7 or 8. No, probably about 7. And I was with my mom. And we were going, it was right around Christmas. We had just went to the store and we were trying to put some other stuff in the trunk. And I remember this vividly. It was actually off of Bradley Boulevard in Wisconsin Avenue. So anywho, I went into a bag because something was falling out or I had accidentally went into a bag. Well, either way, it was something that she had bought for me that was going to be going under the Christmas tree. And I saw it. And I can't tell you how mad that woman was that I had seen it. She was so mad. She vowed not to get me anything else. She thought I did it on purpose. So basically, I am roping the two stories together because now now I realize how she felt when that happened. As Lee literally was like, yeah, I'm thinking pretty sure one of your surprises is ruined. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, and then I started thinking about it. And I was like, mother. And so I said to him, he's like, well, you're just being a little ridiculous. I said, no, just leave it out in the front of the porch. I'll get it.
Right. Man, don't shoot the messenger, shoot the sender.
And
it's like,
I didn't think in any form of my imagination that it literally was going to come saying, here I am.
yeah.
It's
so small. It's so small too, guys. Like when it comes, it's almost the size of a cassette player. For those of you that know about that type of technology, it's almost the size of a cassette player. And like I was telling Tams, I told her, I said, and shout out to Brandon Shaw of Digging the Greats. I had ordered a mixtape of his. Um, Basically, he did this really great docu series called Mixtape, and he had available for pre-order uh, not essentially the soundtrack to that docu series, but it's basically a prelude
Mm-hmm.
to the mixtape soundtrack. And I wanted to support him and everything, and I love the docu series, and I thought, wow, he's bringing cassettes back, and he's doing like let me support the guy. I love the guy, and so when I saw the package initially, I'm going, oh, this is Brandon. I'm like, this
Mm-hmm.
this my boy Brad. I'm like, this is the cassette joint. And then it was like, whoa, Ancestry. I'm like, oh shit. I felt bad because I was like, oh. And then I'm like, why wasn't this put in the mailbox? I'm like, and I
Mm-hmm.
think you said you have since checked the mailbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could have fit in there.
Absolutely.
So makes no sense.
Makes no sense. So
Maybe I mean, if I were to be devil's advocate for the mailman, maybe the mailman kind of looked at it and was like, oh, this is
it
important.
actually looks like it came from a different sender than USPS. So that's probably why it got dropped off the front.
Well, you saw the footage. Who was it that came to the door? Was it the
No, actually,
postman?
that was USPS.
It was. It was the postman.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the postman or UPS?
No, it was postman.
It was the postman.
Mm-hmm.
So there you
Because
go.
I saw when you dropped it off, because I got in the notification, that's when I sent you the text.
So maybe the postman just kind of, was
Maybe didn't
like
want it to get bent.
that, and or the postman was like this.
Seems important.
This seems important. This seems
Yeah,
time
yeah,
sensitive.
that's. In hindsight, I really would have preferred that he put it in the mailbox, but it is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I know. I know. Right.
um,
Remember Tom and Jerry, little yellow bird. Happy birthday.
right, yeah.
Happy birthday. Um,
Exactly.
I tell you who wasn't happy. The goddamn people out there in Wisconsin that went to that damn Cinnabon place. So
Ooh, that's
chat.
a 180-degree turn, but okay.
It's a 180-degree turn, but Jesus Christ, I mean, it's a good transition though. Rap to the folks a little bit about that, in case they don't know. And if you want to see what we're talking about, hop on the Facebook show page at the RCWR show, and you'll see what we're talking about. Because there's a video.
So now this is pretty ironic, guys. You want the white girl to talk about the other white girl that's being a racist.
Well, I consider you. Look, I keep telling Tams. Hey, you're good. We consider you black. You family. You with us. You cool. And like Tams can tell you all about Power. The
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
She just. Oh my God, we didn't even put this on the damn joint. We didn't even put on the just to
Oh,
jog
we
our
didn't.
memory.
We didn't.
We you want to later on? We can figure out a way
We'll
to talk
see.
about it.
We'll see.
So basically, what I'm teasing, we did watch the Diddy 4-part
Serious.
documentary on Netflix. We did watch it, and yeah, that's all. That's all we're gonna say. We're gonna see how the rest of the show goes, and if we have enough time, we'll definitely get into it. But like, no, Tams knows her culture, and
I
and
do.
all that good stuff and everything. So Tams
But
handles herself very well. You know, around us black folks. Okay,
all
okay.
of a sudden, I'm not even gonna get long-winded on this. All of a sudden, you know what comes to mind?
Mm,
Take a guess.
probably Power.
No,
You probably thinking of that time
your
when
damn tat.
oh yeah. Yeah. I'll never forget when I got my Malcolm X tattoo. I'll never forget this. So when we this was my first tattoo, by the way. And I said to Tabs, I said, well, looks like we gotta go to the ghetto for this tattoo. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm like, yeah, we gotta do the hardcore ghetto for this one. And she just was like, okay, where we going? I love that. I mean, she just, where we going? Right? Because there used to be a time where Tams was like, you can go. I'm going to stay right here. Come back in one piece, though. You know. But then, like, I think what it was, like, one of the things that kind of just, okay, it's just going to come with the territory. It is what it is. I remember when I started doing gig work, one of the first joints I did, I was doing Instacart. And back in the day, Instacart, my God, the pay used to be good back in the day with Instacart because Instacart, uh, I can
Especially
remember,
overnight.
especially overnight. That was like my most favorite was doing Instacart overnight because I could go to a store and pick up like only two items. Like typically it would be, oh, somebody needs either cough syrup and some tissue, or hey, somebody's got a baby and they need some milk formula and some diapers, and like those two, maybe three, max four items, like your payout is going to be 25 to 30 bucks, but you have to drive
But gas
about,
comes with a straw.
right, I was going to say, but you have to drive like 20, maybe 25
40.
miles,
Oh yeah.
you know, to that place. And a lot of times I would be picking up like in Bethesda, Maryland, and I would be going to Southeast DC. Sometimes I would even go to
Waldorf.
PG County, and I'd be letting Tams know like, hey, I'm out here like da, 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 da. Man, they got me going to the ghetto, and she's like, yeah, the money's good. It's like if you can survive, She's like,
Right.
it's like you can make it out the neighborhood alive. It's like the money is good. And I used to be going to some sketchy ass neighborhoods and shit.
That was only one or two neighborhoods. I was just like, okay, you can get me the fuck out of here
I
now.
still remember that one time though. We were in that one neighborhood. I still remember that one time we were in that one neighborhood, and we were dropping off to a home somewhere in Southeast, and
Mind you, they already had cop presence
yeah,
and fucking lights like you was in a football
yeah,
field.
yeah. That
And I'm
shit
like,
was
what the fuck is going on
that
here?
shit was ridiculous. And so there's this black woman, this older black woman. She looking, and she's like kind of she's
So
out on
I'm
her front
driving,
porch.
guys. Just
Yeah,
mind that.
Tam's driving, and she and so I see clear as day this old black woman. She kind of looking, she looking at Tabs, and it's kind of like, hey, nah, you ain't Lee, nah, that ain't my nigga, nah. And then I get out the car and I wave, and then all of a sudden the old white lady, the black lady, she has this big ass smile. Now the smile comes up on her face, and she's waving. It was like, Lee, my nigga. It's like, but I remember telling Tab, because we went through a lot a lot of areas in Southeast that shift, and I said, you know what? I said, you know what, Tabs? She's like, what? I said, you Braden to my Tariq. For those of you that know your power shows, I was like, you Braden to my Tariq, man. And but then over time, she evolved. Like she's no longer Braden. Now she's Tommy. you know, n- Now she's Tommy. Now the only thing I'm waiting for her to say is, "Hey, you fucking call that potato salad? What the fuck's wrong with you? You gotta put some more soul in that bitch." Like now, I'm just waiting for her to like say like little shit like that.
And the funny part is my ass can now taste that shit. Like, yep, a white person made that. Yep, that has some soul in it.
Fucking crazy. So yeah, talk about this Cinnabon
So
Carrie.
anyway, sorry about the segue, but anyway.
This is good context.
All right, so this lovely woman
In Wisconsin.
in Wisconsin, who's apparently a worker at Cinnabon. And obviously I've alluded to the fact that this woman is white.
Look middle aged. Like
Oh yeah, she's definitely middle
from
aged.
what I understand,
Like
allegedly
early
she's
40.
50.
Okay, I was gonna say either early 40s or okay. Yep, that sounds about right from the video I saw. So these Somalian people come into the Cinnabon in Wisconsin, and they're just trying to, do their thing and, get something to eat. get a sweet tooth on and all that. So at some point, there is a couple the behind the couple that's being insulted that decides to pick up their phone, and start recording this woman. And you can see as clear as day with the video that the woman is already in the midst of essentially, insulting this couple. And what they do, and it starts off by, oh, would you like me to put some water on you? And then end up calling it, them the N word.
For the record, the Somali couple were the ones that recorded,
Oh, okay.
not another couple.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So the couple was required. Okay. That I misread because I thought it was. Anywho, the Somali couple essentially started recording this woman, and I remember as clear as day the woman saying, you're ruining your life right now, to the woman. And she said, I don't care, I'm a racist. And then basically ended up calling them in the N word. And then asking them and continuing to double down, even though they're essentially being very polite, very rational with her. And she's continuing to call them racial slurs and being very nasty. And it was just not a good look for that establishment. Well, basically turns out that day or the next day, that woman was terminated immediately by Cinnabon, and basically say, because of the egregious act that was done, they have terminated that person, and essentially, her values don't align with their company standards and or the oh Lord, what are the people who basically buy into the Cinnabon franchisees is what they're called. So she was terminated immediately. And it's like, okay, really? I mean, I'm sorry. What happened to let me just service the community and do my job and go home? I mean, I can't even imagine what they would have said or what she said to them to essentially start that whole recording. It's just crazy. Well, I mean, in the place of my work, we deal with all different types of ethnicities and men, women, and all of that, right? But in some areas, people are still set in their ways. And they still believe some people's rhetoric and buy into it. So basically my verbiage here is, it's been a lot more out in public eye for one person who believes their own truth. And for her truth is that she was a racist and she completely acted like one.
Now, I'm gonna be to the point about this, but I want to connect some dots. This is America. Know that song? This is America. Childish Gambino or Donald Glover, whatever his name is. Like, this is America. I say that to say this. What happened with this Cinnabon incident? Make no mistake about it. The seeds have been planted. The amplification of people showing their true disdain for the integration with other races, people of different religion
Nationalities.
and sexual orientation.
Yes.
It's only been amplified worse, and it's been happening for a long time, way before President Trump came into play, way before he became president. I will give you a perfect example. Not going too deep in the weeds here. Just stay with me. It ties to Cinnabon Karen. I can remember vividly when Barack Obama won his first term. And you had people that were like, "Wow, how can this black son of a?" There were
It was
people.
bad.
They were mad, and one of the first people to jump out there and seize the opportunity of that rhetoric was Trump. Are we sure he's even a born citizen? Because with a name like Obama, da 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 da, and the biggest mistake that Obama had made way back then was essentially ignoring it, not fighting fire with fire. He let that shit grow.
How
Okay?
could he though?
Simple.
Because they were already on his ass about a lot of things, and trying to fight the movement may have labeled him other things.
Simple. With facts. I've always been a firm believer that as long as the facts are on your side and it's undeniable, like you can easily shut down whatever. But
Yes,
that's
that's a
besides the
long time.
point.
Right.
I remember when it came to his second term. Now just think about this for a second. The 4 years that passed and the rhetoric, it just continued to
To
grow,
grow.
right? I remember when he won his second term. I'll
Mm-hmm.
never forget this. I was on a train. I was heading to work, and I saw this guy come on the train, and he was picking up every single free Washington Express. It was like these
Oh my
free
God.
papers that
Mm-hmm.
we would get daily from somebody that used to be outside, and they'd greet you, hey, paper, good morning, how you doing, hey, have a paper. And these were free. It's like if you couldn't afford to pick up the Washington Post, then you picked up the free express paper, which was by the
Mm-hmm.
Washington Post. And it was basically like a little mini version. It was a more
Mm-hmm.
pop culture, kind of a little bit more of an outspoken kind of little mini version of the Washington Post. Basically, it was good though. It was a really good paper. I was mad when they discontinued it, but he was going around picking up express papers. Anybody that had left, full blown newspapers, all the joints that had Obama on it winning his second term, he just tore those up. And I said to him, this was a white guy, and I said to him, hey, I feel you. I understand. You might be a little mad because that guy won, but rather than tear up those newspapers, why not collect them all and sell them on eBay? You can actually make some pretty good money. And he was like, I hate that black son of a bitch. And I said, okay. I said, well, you have a good day. And I kept it moving on because I was like, I see where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why am I bringing that up? Some of you may be going. I don't quite see the correlation of what the seeds of disdain towards people of other races.
Mm-hmm.
It's been
Trying.
there for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just and really it kind of all really came to surface when Obama was
Yes.
elected, and when you have
Yes.
instigators, opportunists
Mm-hmm.
like Trump and his administration, and insert whoever else you want to put in
Right.
associated with that. Okay. And you get to the point of where we are now. This isn't by design that this Cinnabon lady just flipped the fuck out and she's like, oh,
Yep.
you sand Nigger, and understand something. We are at this point that we're at right now because this comes after President Trump,
Mm-hmm.
for weeks now, has singled out Somalis
Yep.
and basically, it's honestly disgusting, the statements that he has been making about Somalis. And I don't know the one Somali representative that's in Congress, but he has specifically been calling her out, saying that Somalis are disgusting and just I don't know why he's saying all this crap that he's saying, but it is a major contradiction considering that his wife Melania is an
As an
immigrant.
immigrant.
Is an immigrant.
Yep.
So, it's kind of one of those, well, what makes her any different than the people that you're talking about? You know, like this country was founded and built by immigrants. This is obviously an
Yes.
individual that did not really spend any time reflecting on history and remembering their history and what is what, why it is what it is, at least for long-term purposes. Play the game accordingly, and if you want to talk a different game behind closed doors, well, then that's behind closed doors. No, this guy is just blatantly, as far as I am concerned, he is putting questionable language and behavior out there which suggests that he is a racist.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so when you are promoting that, I need people to understand, when you are promoting that and you see this viral clip of the Cinnabon lady, understand how that Cinnabon lady got to the point where she is at. Is she probably off her meds? Has she probably been taking ketamine and dopamine and LSD and whatever? Probably. Has she most likely gotten in trouble with the law a few times? I haven't done any extended research, but it wouldn't put it past me. It would not put it past me. For an individual to have that much disdain, that much hate in their heart, I just
They've
can't.
been drinking some real strong Kool-Aid from the higher ups.
Look. Yeah, but my whole thing is, if it's gonna be like that, why are you doing that form of customer service? If you have that much hate in your heart, why even put yourself in that position where why not just do gig work? If you're able to drive, why not just do gig work? Or why not, get yourself a shift somewhere where you're working overnight and the odds of you interacting with people is very, very slim to none. To see a female, and this is for me what was really the most startling. The fact that this was a female, a white female. Not that race matters, but really just that it was a female. And she had this level of hate in her heart. And then to turn around and pass gas. I'm going,
Yeah.
do you have any self respect?
No. So in my many years of life, I have seen that type of behavior on and off, through video, through what have you. I've even seen it in places that I've visited when I was a little girl. And the mentality is very different. And that's why I guess I say her truth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and that's why I guess why I say that that's her truth in reference to however she got to that truth, but that's hers. And it's almost like vehemently, basically just she's on top of the pillar mountaintop saying, this is my truth and I'm sticking to it. And I'm going to do anything and everything I can to still continue to believe my truth. And that's what it is. Via dignity, via self-respect, via all of that goes out the window because she is focused on her truth.
Mm.
Not correct for most Americans, but that's her truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I find it very upsetting that it's that way. So for me, just very quick, I grew up. I was born in Southwest Virginia. Went to DC when I was one, and have grown up in the DMV ever since. Right. So Southwest Virginia, one set of morals, one set of beliefs, so on and so forth. Right. Up here, different set of morals, different set of beliefs, and it's almost like two different sides of a coin of each person's truth. And it's upsetting to see when you don't believe that. To see another person be so, she really humiliated herself for with most people. But she doesn't even see that because she only sees it as defending her own truth.
Hmm.
And it's quite sad. And the fact that you would stoop that low and essentially get yourself fired right before Christmas is very stupid. It's very stupid.
You know, like I didn't even laugh when I saw that video for the first time. And if you haven't seen the video, like I said, just you can hop on our Facebook page and go check it out. But like when I watched the video, I didn't even laugh. I just shook my head in disbelief because I'm used to seeing that kind of rhetoric, like where someone is getting out of their car and they're spewing, like, because maybe somebody was driving too close to them, or maybe they got cut off, or maybe this person is on their property and they're saying what they're saying and,
Hmm.
they don't give a fuck. But to see it to that level, I'm almost reminded of a story, and feel free to look this up, y'all, but I'm almost reminded of a story that happened about 3 to 5 years ago where there was a black woman that found herself in the South somewhere. And she, bullshit you not, she was trying to find a place to eat. And she went to this one place where the owner had said to her, "We don't serve your kind." This was within, I bullshit you not, this was in the last 3 to 5 years. Just type in a Bing Google search,
And
black
that shit
woman,
reminds you of something back in the 60s.
right. Just type in black woman denied service at restaurant. And like you should be able to see what I'm talking about. And she's like, "Excuse me, what?" I mean, she was really taken back
I
by it.
bet
And,
so.
and, and she was like, I don't see no sign that says that, and and all this. And the owner doubled down, and then you had some white customers. I guess they were longtime customers, and they pretty much was like, "Yeah, you in the wrong fucking neighborhood. You best leave right now." I mean, so
Well, I can promise you that I had a nice conversation with a gentleman that frequents our establishment, and he works for Congress. And he said, and I quote, there are a lot of people who could be considered white supremacists there.
ooh we marinate on that for a tick. Where you want to go next? You want to talk about this Sarah Stock AEW?
Sure.
Yeah. So that's been kind of interesting. I gotta tell you, it is a ever evolving uh, with this woman. I actually befriended her on social media way before all this stuff like even went down, and she's been leaning into a lot of the stuff that she's been saying at AEW for some days now. She has now gone
Hmm.
days. So for those of you that maybe are not aware, Sarah Stock, she actually used to work for AEW. I don't know if she was let go or if she was able to leave at her own volition, but she's no longer associated with the company whatsoever. And she's been making the headlines as she's taken to social media saying that AEW's backstage environment suffer from severe corruption and negligence. She wrote in part on social media. I mean, this is almost a master class because we'd be here for an hour just looking at all the stuff that she's been posting. But like in a nutshell, just to give you guys a little taste of some of the stuff she's been saying, corruption and negligence are running unchecked at AEW. Talent and company safety continues to be put at risk. She specifically calls out key AEW staff by name, alleging the company's performance psychology director, Chris Manazone, and HR slash people and culture lead, Karen Van Bitter, alleging the HR system is broken and improperly restructured. One of her major complaints, AEW replaced what she describes as an extremely qualified, diverse, and beloved team of mental health professionals with what she calls a third party booking app. According to her, this harms wrestlers' well being. She also alleges discriminatory or what the hell? Is that my watch? What's going off?
No.
I think that's my watch. Hang on here. I don't know why that's going off. Hang on here. Oh, sorry about that, guys. She, one of her major complaints here, she alleges that discriminatory or unequal treatment of foreign and especially Mexican female wrestlers, saying that they were flown into the U.S. early for shows, kept in country for extended periods, given no per diems or
Per
food
diems.
allowance. Yeah, sorry. How you pronounce that?
Per diems.
Per diems. Thank you. Or food allowance, and only allowed 1 day a week home, while many male or local wrestlers got preferential treatment like travel assistance and more support. She also claims that in one backstage incident she helped respond to, she was ignored in the investigation, even though she was there. According to her, AEW's internal safety and talent relations processes failed when it counted most. So, yeah, this is where we are in a nutshell. So, obviously, she's talking about health support, mismanagement, lack of transparency, unsafe environments. That's what we're talking about that she's spitting out in a nutshell. There's been a few inside AEW that that have publicly responded to this. Ricochet being one of those people. Now, I'm not going to say Ricochet should be disregarded, but I am because Ricochet hasn't even been there in the company for a year. Remember, he
Right.
came to AEW earlier this year. Okay. And furthermore,
He's also one of their top talents.
he's also one of their top talents right now. And Ricochet, of course, is going to wave that flag for the company,
Hmm.
and also at the same time, Ricochet is a capitalist. Know this about Ricochet if you don't already. If Ricochet sees something is trending, he wants in on the action. So you gotta look at what he's saying. And now, with what the comment that Ricochet had made saying, no, we just didn't like you, LOL, he could be revealing something of
Mm,
secondhand knowledge where, no, there were just certain people in the company that, he could be tipping his hand, essentially. So the way you can look at that, yeah, he's defending, but he could also inadvertently be further helping Sarah Stock's cause at the same time and everything. Now, some, and rightfully so, have criticized what they see in Stock airing grievances publicly, implying her allegations may be more personal than institutional. But that said, as of right now, where we stand at the time, at least of this recording, there's been no official response from AEW management addressing her claims in full detail. Now, what is still unclear or still up in the air, Stock is saying she has receipts, behind the scenes evidence, but she hasn't publicly shared full documentation, footage, or affidavits that would prove every allegation. It's unclear how many current or former AEW talents support or corroborate her claims outside of a few reactions on social media. I know one thing right now when she was saying what she was saying about imagine being a talent and you come here and blah this, blah that. I know one of her posts related to that got a heart or whatever you want to call it from Stephanie the Kier, who remember at one point was in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
She was trying to work towards a contract and
Mm-hmm.
but then she ultimately went to WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So besides those few little reactions, it's really hard to gauge how widespread this alleged treatment is or was. And then most importantly, not to mention, because AEW hasn't officially responded, we don't know if internal investigations have been launched or will
Mm-hmm.
be, if policies will be changed going forward, or how many of Stock's claims will be acknowledged or dealt with. But Tony
And
Khan,
also how far she's willing to take it if she's talking about she has receipts.
right, Tony Khan has been, obviously it kind of sounds to me like no gag order was put in
Right.
place upon her being, released or
Which that was
whatever the
kind of
circumstances are.
that was kind of silly
Whatever,
of them.
right? Whatever the circumstances were for her exiting AEW, like
Mm-hmm.
obviously she feels quite comfortable to the point that she's able to say these things that she is able to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I can imagine that as far as what is happening right now, I know a lot of people, a lot of AEW fans are looking at this and they're going, why isn't Tony Khan responding? Why isn't anybody in
Right.
AEW responding to this?
Right.
And it could be a case where just legally, they probably are working behind the scenes trying to
Oh
see,
yeah.
like,
They're
okay,
doing damage control. Trust
they,
and believe they're
yeah.
doing damage control. They haven't put anything out yet because they don't want to misstep.
Some people are saying, well, is it possible that Tony Khan may address this by the time it comes to AEW's next media scrum event, which definitely will be happening on December 27th. That's Saturday for their World's End event at the Now Arena in Chicago.
That's possible.
That's very well possible,
Mm-hmm.
but my advice, because I know in the past we used to have some folks from AEW because of my coverage of their Dynamite and Rampage shows
Mm-hmm.
for the podcast that I would do, and also when I was working writing up the reviews for Full One Mania, I know that there was a good handful of folks at AEW that was checking out my stuff. I don't know how many of them are still keeping tabs on our shows, but my biggest piece of advice to them right now would be to not wait until
Yes.
December 27th. You want to get
Yes.
ahead of this as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And because the longer they remain silent about this,
The worse it looks for them,
yeah,
and the more that's going to grow.
keep going.
The more, the worse it looks for them, and the more it's going to grow as it pertains to the issue at hand. You know, I mean, okay, take a couple days, fine. But if you don't respond within a timely manner, public opinion is going to form about the reasons why you're not. And I would strongly advise them not to wait till the 27th of December when it's literally the beginning of the month.
And your thoughts in general, just about like, there's a lot to unpack here. And I mean, she's been at it for days. I mean, it is just, it's almost like she's not sleeping and she is just, and
So,
you can't really help but wonder if this is like a case of farm engagement. And I know one of the things that she's like, hey, now that I've got your attention, support this Kickstarter campaign for my friend and his book. And it's like, So what is this really about? Are you doing what you're doing because you have your version of a truth that needs to be brought to light,
Hmm.
or is this click engagement farming? Are you trying to put yourself in a, I'm only saying what other people like, this is how some people are thinking, and
Hmm.
these are the right kind of questions, because
Hmm.
so obviously you're not going to say anything when you are working for the employer,
Right, when you're still under contract,
right?
because that's a breach of contract.
And
Correct.
you like the
Contract.
money that you're getting,
Right.
right? So unless you're able to, well, hey, the grass is now greener over here. I'm now with these guys. Now I can spit the truth. It just, yeah.
So there's so many layers to that because as a independent contractor, you are in a way, even though you're trying to state an issue for your truth, that's an issue. Other companies are looking at you saying, well, damn, is she going to do the same thing with us?
Mhm.
So, in essence, you're literally digging yourself a hole because there's a lot of companies that may have been interested and may not be interested anymore because of the baggage that you come with.
Mhm.
And the fact that you continue to just layer and layer and layer and layer and layer on. Do I as a casual fan believe that that's possible? Yeah, I do. Because you and I have already had the conversation about, or at least that's how it's felt. You know, it is a show of what, 80-10. 80 to the men's matches, 10 or 20 to women.
Mhm.
Um, and it just doesn't seem to be the same level. It just doesn't seem to be the same caliper. I mean, I think that when they do it, I think it's fairly reasonable. But those are some strong claims, like undocumented workers, unlawful working conditions. Those are some strong claims to be spewing. And the fact, like I said, if you wanted to do this privately and and plead your case and maybe go to claims court or civil court or whatever that is, okay, maybe. But if you are literally, I mean, you guys know that anything you put on social media, especially if you've got a little bit of strength behind your name, oh my God, it blows up like an explosion. And everybody has seen some part of a post. Everybody either has seen it, has heard about it, or knows about it from someone else. So, doesn't look good for her. But if she is doing this to shed light for other people so that they don't have to go through that, then good for her. But be prepared for the backlash of it.
See, what made me a huge fan of Sarah's is of her work that she did back in the day, because I can remember her wrestling for Lucha Libre, CMLL, TNA. I know she even did some stuff for World Wonder Ring Stardom. So like I've been a fan of her work for many years.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came across her on social media several weeks back, I was like, "Oh, she's on X, like or Twitter as I like to call it still." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." And it's interesting because the stuff that she's posting, it's really weird. because she'll post these provocative photos of herself while also taking jabs at AEW. So there's some there's some click engagement that's going on
Oh yeah.
there with her.
Oh yeah.
Obviously she is in a place where she does not give two fucks, and she
Yeah.
is,
Yeah, that would be a good way to
you
play
know,
it
you
as
know,
far as to say that. Yes.
because obviously this is somebody that doesn't care about potentially trying to get a job with WWE or NWA, or
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like, yo, if she ain't wrestling nowhere else, it kind of seems, or working behind the scenes in a managerial role, it seems like she's content, and with where things are right now and everything. Uh, but this, it just comes off a little unhealthy for her. I know it was last month she got into it on social media with, I think it was Amanda Huber, widow of Luke Harper. She got into it with her over some spot that happened on one of their pay-per-views, and it kind of just, I don't know if Sarah kind of looked at that and said, "Oh, I got something going here where if I do it just right, and I play my cards with my social media game, I can, but I would just say to her, if I could bend her ear, I would just say to her, what do you really hope to gain from this? What is your ultimate goal here? Because if your ultimate goal is to spill out what you believe to be truths, you're talking about taking on a, essentially, not a global empire, but you are taking on an empire,
Mm-hmm.
and you will likely lose to this.
Yes.
It's like, so how, have you really thought this? If I could bend her ear, I'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
how far are you willing to take
Right.
this? How thick of enough skin do you have to endure
Mm-hmm.
what is? Because
Yes.
you're going to be dealing with the hardcore AEW fans that are at times, and they've demonstrated it many times over the years, that they can be overzealous fans,
Mm-hmm.
and right down to the point that some of those fans, they will dox you,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be getting death threats and all this other stuff. So it's kind of one of those, how far are you willing to go? You know, how much longer are you willing to continue doing this?
Mm-hmm.
What is the end goal?
Mm-hmm.
And I would really need for her to sit down and just, what do you hope to accomplish here? Right? Think about all of those things, because let me tell you something, from what I've seen over the years,
Mm-hmm.
with anybody that has tried to say anything bad, even if they felt it was the truth,
Mm-hmm.
it has not ended well.
Yep.
It has not ended well
Yep.
for them. It just, it hasn't. So I'm really, really, uh, you know this is not going to end well. This is not going to end well. It's definitely not going to end well for her from a legality standpoint. If I am AEW, I am definitely ultimately going to do a cease and desist,
Mm-hmm.
because you know you're talking about slander, you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about defamation.
Mm-hmm. And most likely, when you're dealing with that kind of a company that is really an empire, as Lee said, they're going to have you for lunch. Their lawyers will have you for lunch. Um, and if you're like the only person, as far as the lone wolf, as they would say, to try to fight this, man, it's almost like fighting a losing battle
Hmm.
because it's you against you against a lot of heavy hitters. And I don't necessarily think that you're going to win that fight.
Just from a legality standpoint, I know we were talking about defamation, but really look at that as an umbrella term because, you know, this can be split into a couple of areas here. We're talking libel, which is definitely something that I learned a lot in my journalism classes. And this basically applies to written statements. So this includes social media posts, articles, screenshots. AEW would have to prove the statements were false that Sarah Stock is making and that they were presented as fact, not opinion. They cause measurable harm to reputation or business. They were made with negligence or actual malice, depending on status. Then that ties into slander, which basically applies to spoken statements, interviews, videos, podcasts. And let me tell you something, and I would definitely say this to Sarah: do not do any interviews. Do not do any videos. Do not do any podcasts. Do not fire up your fucking webcam and spill out because you're going to be giving AEW ammo. Also, in regards to slander, the same burden of proof as liable, just verbal instead of written. You know, you got to think about all of that. And then the other thing that you have to consider as well, people, torturous interference. This applies if AEW can prove her statements directly caused loss of business deals, loss of sponsor relationships, loss of media contracts, talent refusing to sign. So this claim basically would argue she interfered with AEW's existing or potential business relationships. You then have business disparagement, trade libel. That's slightly different from the defamation umbrella that we talked about earlier. This would basically focus on harm to the company's products or services, not just reputation. So AEW would need to show false statements about their operations, safety, or professionalism, and then direct financial damage tied to those claims. And then just two more things I want to tackle here: breach of contract. So if a NDA exists, if Sarah Stock signed a non-disclosure agreement or a non-disparagement clause, AEW could sue strictly on contract violation alone. There would be no need to prove defamation if an NDA was breached. And then you have a civil conspiracy. This is less likely, but it's still possible. You could put this on the table. This one would apply if AEW can prove she coordinated with others to intentionally damage the company. Again, very hard to prove, and this is rarely successful. So, most companies they don't rush to sue immediately in cases like this because lawsuits basically force discovery. And then you've got internal emails, HR records, and incident reports that basically ultimately it becomes public. And then the case can easily backfire in PR. That's why, from what we were talking about earlier, silence, you know, interviews.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be a case where there could be a quiet settlement? There's
Right.
like more things that can happen, but hopefully this kind of puts everybody. Because I don't honestly, I don't think anybody's really going to be breaking it down the way that we're breaking it down
Mm-hmm.
right here. But just kind of food for thought on that one. Congratulations, a little bit on a lighter note. Congratulations are in order to TNA Wrestling. TNA Wrestling has inked a deal with AMC. How about that? What is Daryl Dixon doing in the Impact Zone? They announced a oh my God, it's Negan. Uh,
Oh, Lord. Bloodbath.
oh my God. Well, Jilly fucking Willikers, I woke up today saying it's gonna be a mighty good fucking day. And here I am in the impact zone. TNA announced a multi-year media rights agreement with AMC. Under this deal, TNA's flagship weekly show now called Thursday Night Impact, will air on AMC in the United States beginning January 15th, 2026. Show's going to be running for 2 hours every Thursday, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. In addition to the TV broadcast, it will also be available for streaming on AMC's streaming service, AMC Plus. Live premiere is going to be taking place at the Curtis Colwell Center in Dallas, Fort Worth,
Oh
Texas.
wow.
Yeah, so apparently this is roughly a 3-year deal, sees them going until at least 2029. So big increase as far as visibility, though.
Oh yeah.
Consistent weekly live programming, and then you got the
Hmm.
streaming and cable reach. So many households have access to AMC. Stability, legitimacy. I mean, this is like nothing but good for TNA wrestling. Like the little engine that could.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. For me, when I first heard about it, it was like, wait a minute, what? Gone are the days when we were both, growing up, where AMC was just about older movies.
Mm,
And they haven't really been that in many, 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 many years. But I'm happy for TNA. I really am, as it pertains to everything that Lee just said. But now it's about the logistics of, okay, what does that look like? Is the product going to step up? Are you going to, obviously, more eyes on the product definitely means, better visibility and possibly, just more and more programming. Um, it was funny to hear that TNA executive or head honcho, literally the deal was done the day after his birthday. Um,
Oh, that's so cool. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Nice.
it was done the day after his
Nice.
birthday because it was always the, okay, I know a deal's going to get done, but where's the who, the how, the when, the where,
Yeah.
and all of that came to a head the day after his birthday when the deal was sealed. So that was kind of cool.
That is cool.
The other piece of that for me is just to see. I mean, obviously, just like anything else new,
Carlos Silva.
yes, just like anything else new, obviously, the beginning, and there's going to be a lot of eyes on the product.
Mm,
So they have a very, 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 very small window to capture, grab, and convert.
mm.
Now, I feel like the streaming service will help them because that is going to give them way more visibility. And we all know that, there's not a lot of things that are watched in real time.
Yeah. Yeah. You are absolutely right. And let me say this right now for those of you that's been long time listeners, you may remember that back in the day, we had a weekly Thursday show called Impact Showdown that solely covered TNA wrestling. A large part of the reason why that show went on hiatus is because TNA wrestling was jumping around on networks that I could not gain access to. I remember at one point they were streaming live episodes of TNA Impact on their Twitch channel, and I remember there used to
Mm-hmm.
be we used to have Josh Matthews
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to think Don Callis and Brian Cage, and then Brian Cage's wife. I can't think of her name right now. They would be like in between commercial breaks, they'd be hosting the Twitch stream showing of TNA. So if you couldn't access it on Access TV, you could just watch the Twitch stream at that time, and it was a nice little. And so I used to try to do Impact Showdown that way, but it just became too goddamn tedious for me. But
Mm-hmm.
for those of you curious, will I be bringing back Impact Showdown to cover those episodes of Impact? Yes, I will. And the way it's looking right now, I'm not really a fan of the 9 to 11 o'clock time frame because that would mean I would need to that would have to be a really tight show. Like I would have to do like 45 minutes to an hour, no more, no less, and then bounce. I'd be up for the challenge. I think with the way things are looking for my spring semester of classes, I could pull it off. I think I could pull it off, but yes, Impact Showdown will be coming back. So mark it down on your calendars. That January 15th, I will be live covering Impact Showdown Fallout. Let me just say this on the business side of things. It is still early in regards to Netflix announcing plans to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery's premium studio assets that include HBO, Warner Brothers Studios, while spinning off the traditional cable networks into a separate publicly traded company pending regulatory approval. What that means for wrestling, sports, and entertainment distribution, guys, it is still early. We are not going to spend 10, 20 minutes talking about what does this mean for AEW? It is still early. This is the thing that you definitely need to know in a nutshell when it comes to AEW. They just re-upped their deal with Warner Brothers Discovery October of last year, and it went into effect effective January of this year. They have 3 guaranteed more years left on their current deal, and there is a fourth option,
Additional year.
an additional year option should Warner Brothers Discovery decide they want to pick that up. So all you guys need to know right now is that, like, okay, look, when it's all said and done, 2028 for sure, AEW's locked and loaded where they are. 2029 and beyond, that's where it kind of gets a little uncertain. But unfortunately, we can say that there's going to be so many podcasts that's going to be like, oh, it's at the end of AEW, and all that. Like, if you are a wrestling fan that appreciates all things wrestling, and just you're an AEW fan, my best piece of advice, and I'm sure you would agree with this, when you're able to, check out the live episodes whenever they air on TNT TBS.
Yes.
If you're not able to watch them when they initially air, but you got them on your DVR, watch them on DVR. Hop over on HBO Max, watch the shows that way. They're looking at all of those metrics.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, that's the best advice to give. One more thing we can get into. See, that's it. You thought we was gonna. I told you, like, we ain't doing no 15, 20 minutes. Like, it's fucking early. What do you expect? It's still early. Like, it's gonna be at least 12 to 18 minutes. The FTC has to decide. Like, there's so many things. Just it's literally cooking in the oven right now. One last thing we can get into. Tell the folks about this whole John Cena potential lawsuit thingamajigger.
So, Pete Schofield,
Uh huh.
who was a musician back in the 70s, seemed like an instrumentalist. Their claims are that John Cena, TKO, WWE, essentially took a section of a song that was put out by him
Back in the 70s.
back in the 70s, that the daughter owns rights to, that they basically used that and didn't get proper authorization to use it.
Shit.
And so, just for my own, because actually that's a little niche of mine that I actually like. It was kind of interesting to see, with the Robin Thicke in Blurred Lines for the Marvin Gaye case, as far as, does it, doesn't it, kind of thing. So I looked up, and what the song is called "The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia" by Pete Schofield and the Canadians, correct. So, in clear as day, as soon as the song opens up, dun 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 dun, and it's like, whoa.
Damn.
And obviously, as the song, goes on, it's, it's going into a different version, but they have that particular segment in the WWE on lock, and it's like on repeat. And then of course, the rest of the verbiage. But it's pretty damn close.
It's funny that you mentioned what you mentioned about blurred lines, Robin Thicke, and I remember how the Marvin Gaye estate handled that and everything. But I'm also thinking about Jay Dilla and the late Jay Dilla, one of the greatest producers, beat makers of all time. Love that dude. Miss him daily. We could use some of his music right now. If he was still here today, man, 'cause he'd be just killing it right now with all these artists. But I remember when Tarika Blue, it was a band from like back in the 70s. They only released one album. It's I think it's a self-titled album. And basically Jay Dilla, Erica Badu, they sampled the song Dream Flower off of that album for one of Erica Badu's hit songs from back in the day. I'm trying to think what's the name of the Erica Badu song. It'll come to me in a little bit, but basically you would have thought that like, oh well, they only made one album. They've pretty much gone into oblivion. Like, but there was actually like that song won Erica Badu a Grammy, and so like it was just catching fire. And then it turns out there was still a couple of members
So
still alive from Tarika Blue, and they basically took Erica Badu, Jay Dilla, the record company, to court, and they basically were able to settle it. And in part, some of the money that Tarika Blue was able to get from that case, they used part of that money to make sure their album was put out there on digital platforms and everything, kind of
gotcha.
reintroducing it to
To newer
yeah,
generations.
yeah. So and it's so amazing because same thing like the John Cena joint, like they just took
Riff.
that simple riff, and Jay Dilla just brilliantly built over that. No different than what Jim Johnson, because let's be honest, if I'm not mistaken, I think Jim Johnson might have had something to do with the John Cena song. Bear with me a sec.
So it was funny while Lee's looking that up.
Yeah.
It, it's actually, guys, it's one of my favorite movies. If you're a big Bernie Mac fan or like Samuel L. Jackson, and you like his dry humor,
Ooh.
it literally is a movie called Soul Men. And there's a segment in there. Before I even got into beats and things of that nature, and even knowing, any of that, there was a scene where the guy was trying to record this song, and they were sampling off of Soul Men, which was the group in the movie. And he's like, man, he said that, what did he say? He said, artists borrow. And I was
Ah,
like, oh, okay. But
I'm looking at the John Cena joint now. So no, the producer of this was Jake One, and yeah, as far as the songwriters, John Cena, Mark Pretka, Robert L. Russell, Jamal Greenwich, Eric Murray, Daryl Pittman. So yeah, yeah.
the funny thing is, and here's what I find a little bit ironic, if you want me to be honest, is the man is getting ready to retire. He's got one more match.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden you think now's the time to do a lawsuit? He's been pushing this song for I don't know how long.
See, I can't help but wonder, and this is the one thing that I did not research, and maybe I'll revisit it on Monday's show. But I'm curious, when did the guy that made the song? I'm curious, when did he die? And then like the daughter, like, because that would tell me all I needed to know. Because you could almost make an argument that, okay, well, if the father died like 15 to 20 years ago, for all we know, maybe there was some type of publishing clearance issue that the estate had to go through, or what have you. Maybe the daughter just honestly did not know, or whoever is in charge of the estate, they just did not know, and it just now was a case where they oh, so this is what happened, like what's going on, like, wow, how long has this been going on, was not aware of this because I don't watch wrestling and all this other stuff.
So apparently he passed away.
Mhm.
Um. Okay, hold on.
And
Yeah, that's
while Tams is doing that, didn't you know? So it was Erica Badu's song called "Didn't You Know" from 2000, from her album Mama's Gun. That was produced by Jay Dilla. And there is a Tarika Blue sample of Dream Flower from, again, I said the 1970s, but I'm thinking like late 1970s. And the lawsuit was filed by Tarika Blue, which, if I were to describe Tarika Blue to you guys, I would say jazz funk. Like that's the best way I can pretty much sum it up. And yeah, they got sampled. Tarika Blue won the lawsuit. Court basically ruled that the sampling was a copyright infringement and unauthorized uh, de- der- derivative work, basically. And so the publishing rights had to be reassigned. Royalties were redirected to Tarika Blues rights holders, and proper legal credit and compensation were enforced after the fact. So, this was a pretty big deal when this case had went down too. I need people to understand, because it confirmed that melody-based samples, even the most smallest ones, those basically require clearance. And it reinforced that producers are legally responsible and that artists can be sued even if they didn't personally clear the sample. So I say all this to say this could definitely come back to bite John Cena,
mm-hmm.
WWE, and all of them in the
Okay.
ass. Why is WWE involved in this? Some of you may say, you might find it kind of, because back in the day when the song came out and when John Cena's one and only album came out, it was under WWE's record label.
Right. Also, the artist Peter Schofield died April 3rd
Mm.
of 1995.
So maybe it, at what age? It doesn't say.
Mm, doesn't say.
So, you can only assume that maybe around that time the daughter was kind of
Oh wow.
relatively the daughter was relatively young, unless it was a case where, because I'm waiting for you to say like, yeah, when he died he was in his 70s, and
Hold on.
because if you tell me he was in his 70s, then I can go, okay, well, if his daughter is the one,
71.
he was 71. So it's possible his daughter was either in her teens
Mm-hmm.
or maybe in her early 20s. And honestly, babe, and everybody at home, it's just one of those deals where, like, it may sound really weird, but if she went years upon years, like, she doesn't normally check out wrestling, she doesn't care for
Mm-hmm.
wrestling, and somebody just said to her, hey, I think your dad's song, used for, or maybe she was flipping the channels, and yeah, one day I was just flipping the channels and I just saw, and I was like, what the hell? Like, do they got clearance for that? And
That's possible. I mean, obviously now with the farewell tour, there's a whole lot more eyes on the product.
yeah,
So maybe there's that.
But the optics don't look good. The timing, as far as the
Yeah,
timing,
yeah,
yeah, it definitely doesn't look good. It definitely doesn't look good. They're gonna settle.
I think so.
I with everything I just told you about the Tarika Blue, Erica Badu, Jay Dilla situation, what Tams just told you about Robin Thicke, the Marvin Gaye estate with blurred lines. Yeah, they're gonna get paid. Yeah,
Yeah.
that family's gonna get
Yes.
paid. Make no mistake
Yes.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, as we get ready to dip out, want to take this time out to thank our show sponsors because without them, content like what you're checking out right now would not be made possible. Shout out to my good friends over at I Want to Learn SQL.com, your hands-on gateway to mastering SQL. Whether you're starting from scratch or upgrading your data skills, I Want to Learn SQL.com. Put structured lessons, real world exercises, and clear explanations at your fingertips. Your next pivot in tech begins with a solid query. Check out I Want to Learn SQL.com. Also, shout out to our newest sponsor, Katrina's Spiritual Counseling. Learn more by visiting Katrina's spiritualcounseling.com. Make sure you put two S's in there, otherwise, you'll get a redirect. Katrina offers tarot and psychic love readings by phone or chat. Backed by over 20 years' experience, her sessions provide straightforward, no sugarcoating insight into past, present, and future relationship questions. She also has seasonal items available for sale just in time for the holidays. I'm talking love candles, honey jars, and return lover kits. Same day shipping while supplies last. Katrina's spiritualcounseling.com, or you can give her a call at 1 877 275 7562. Once again, that's 877 275 7562. Katrina's spiritualcounseling.com. Appreciate her being a sponsor for the RCWR show with Lee Sanders and Wrestling with the Topics. Speaking of the RCWR show, your next show, Monday, December 8th, 2025, coming on after Raw goes off the air. John Cena, real quick. Thoughts about the fact that he did the interview with Bill Simmons on the Ringer and revealed that he said to WWE, yo, I'm down to do 220 dates. And WWE's like, we only need you for 36. You ain't even gotta be long winded.
I,
Whatever comes to your mind.
I guess maybe they didn't want to extend it too long as far as the farewell tour. And, but then again, well, hell, even 56 times 2 is shit, 112. So, even so, they would either have had to extend the time for more than a year, or he'd literally be on every single time they were on air. And then maybe it would look like oversaturation. I don't know. I don't know where they were going with it. I mean, one would think that if that's what you wanted to do and really saying, hey, I can do this many dates, why not use that?
Really makes you wonder. Combine that with the fact of just how they have fumbled John Cena's retirement tour. And then to hear that this guy offered to do 220, essentially full time.
Yeah, essentially.
And like that is plenty of long term storytelling. He is basically saying we can ride this to next WrestleMania. It's so infuriating to me that the way this is looking, unless WWE is going to give us some type of a weird swerve, that basically, wait a minute, you're so fucking close to WrestleMania season. You're telling me you're not going to give John Cena the biggest proper
Yes.
send off and let him go to WrestleMania? Like,
One would wonder that, considering this, just the sheer star power that he brings.
yeah.
Can you imagine how many tickets of WrestleMania you would sell, meaning that that was John Cena's final match?
It almost feels like a Triple H Paul Levesque ego.
Mm.
Because you just think about how he essentially did The Rock when The Rock was trying to, hey man, this kind of sucks a little bit. Here's how we can make this better. And then Paul Levesque wants to, shit on The Rock, essentially. I still remember that skating promo he put out, to which The Rock just basically, okay, well, I'm going to back off then. And then,
Oh, yeah, I remember that
yeah.
promo.
And then you've got the fact that John Cena's like, yo, I want to go at it hard. I'm available to do 220 something dates. Yeah, we only need you for 35, 36.
Well, okay, so then match that and double down. Oh, well, I don't care. If you throw them at me, I work them. Literally what he said
What did
in
he say?
another podcast.
What did he say?
You throw it at me, I'll work them. Meaning the Brock Lesnar thing, and they kept trying to spin it that John Cena wanted that match.
When in fact,
He didn't give two shits either way.
right, he was just tell me what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. It just there's something really bugging me about the way it just seems like there's a lot of ego that's at play, and just there really is not a proper foresight. I've said it time and time again, and I will say it by saying this: put the controversy to the side in regards to Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, Vince McMahon would have booked John Cena. First of all, he
Yes.
would have taken John Cena up on those 220 dates.
Yes, he would have.
And he would have built a really damn good proper send off.
You can't. I mean, you can build a storyline, but not the strong one that you want to build
Yeah.
for 36 dates.
Yeah.
Even if it was showing up on some of the episodes and just mean mugging the opponent
Yeah.
or something, to remind the people about the story. Not only that, can you imagine how many more tickets they would have sold for any event that John Cena was on?
It really just makes you wonder. I don't know. It really just makes you wonder. I think I might put out a poll and ask folks what they make of that whole,
I think you should.
because it just really it's baffling. It's really baffling. She's a beautiful and a lovely Tammy Lee Sanders. Wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see you for the Monday Night Raw post show. Check y'all out later. Take care.